Hey guys, my name's Zach and I'm going to show you how to cook a few things for lots of people because that can be quite stressful sometimes when you have a group of people coming over for dinner. What do I cook for them and how am I going to do it? So today I thought I'd just start with something fairly straightforward, just some chicken and roast veg. I've got some whole chicken thighs here. I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 on the go, and we're going to throw these in the oven with some seasoning, chop up some sweet potato and some beetroot, some onion, and then toss it all together and roast that as well. So start with the chicken and get that going. Always when you're cooking, get your heat on. So I've got the oven on. If you're running your domestic oven, just turn it full ball. So put it on the setting that has the most amount of heat, which would be double elements if you have it, or just one element plus like 250, 300, whatever your oven goes up to. My one's running at 250. You need salt and pepper. Season the chicken. Be fairly generous with it. And give it some canola oil. You can do olive oil as well, but canola oil is cheaper and flavor's the same pretty much once you're cooking with it. Get the underside of the chicken as well. So it should be glistening, and the seasoning should be visible. That's ready to go. And that's like seasoning 101 is it should be shiny with some oil, and the seasoning should be very visible on top. So pop that in the oven. So we'll chop up some veg. How much to chop? I really just go, visual is pretty good. So we're going to feed, say, 10 people. Okay, so let's have a look here. I've got 2 sweet potato, or 2.5 sweet potato, 2 beetroot, and I've got 5 onions. So that's like half an onion each. 1/5 of a beetroot each, and about just over 1/3 of a sweet potato. That's quite generous. So for 10 people, that's a good amount. I'd say there's probably some leftovers too. If you want to use scales, then around 250 grams raw root veg is good for one person. So when you're chopping, always find flat surfaces on your board, on the thing you're chopping, and just chop straight through, nice and stable. Sizing wise, smaller pieces will cook faster, larger pieces will take longer. Visually, you might lean one way or the other depending on what you're going for. Salads generally need smaller amounts. Roast, you can get away with larger, chunkier bits. For what I've cut here, these roughly 2.5 centimeter ones, they'll take about 20 to 25 minutes to cook, and larger pieces will, like if it's double that size, it'll take double the amount of time to cook. So as you chop, pop things onto a tray. Always work one layer of something to your tray when you're roasting, rather than stacking up. So if you've got vegetables piling up, then they'll start steaming in the middle rather than roasting, and you'll lose some of that colour. They'll also take longer to cook. So that's one layer in a tray. Again, same as the chicken, good amount of oil, make it glisten, seasoning, make it visible. This salt and pepper mix that I've used, I'm basically doing I've got a mix of 2 parts salt, 1 part pepper. You can change it up however you like. I find for what we do here, that's a pretty good balance of salt to pepper. So again, nice and glistening, seasoning is visible. Same again for these onions. Onions will take a slightly shorter amount of time to cook than the sweet potatoes. So I'll do these ones slightly larger in size. so that they'll cook around about the same time. Now beetroot takes a little bit longer than sweet potato to cook, so I'll do these slightly smaller than the sweet potato. So these are around about 1 centimetre dice. It's all pretty rough, you don't have to be exact. Okay, so that's all ready to go in the oven. In a domestic oven, you usually have enough for 2 trays at a time. So you might need to cook this in batches, which is fine. Just give yourself more time to do so. This oven here has enough for 10 trays, so I can just go hard. The chicken's sizzling along nicely. So it's about halfway there. It needs some more colour. So that's definitely on the way. Okay, so while your chicken and veg are roasting, we're going to cook off some fruit as our sauce. So you can do pretty much any fruit you like. Today I've got some plums. They're in season, they're nice and juicy. So for plums, I'm just going to slice down either side of the pip and then just dice it away. So you have the pip over here, then these sections, just dice it all up. So again, thinking about quantities, probably 1 to 2 plums per person is about right. So I'll do, if we're going to feed 10 people, then I'll do 10 to 12 plums, I reckon. And that'll be a generous amount of sauce. I've got my chopped plums. I've also added just a bit of grated ginger and sliced chili. That was 1 chili, and this was about 2 thumbs of ginger. Pop that all in the pot. This is a nice hot pot. As soon as this hits the base, it's going to start sizzling. Stir around a couple of times. Alright, so this pot is particularly hot. It's got quite a bit of smoke coming up. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Not too much, just enough to get the edge off. So a lot of your pan and pot work is going to be about just hearing and sensing what the pot's doing or the pan's doing. There's no set amount of time and temperature that's going to help you too much. You're just going to know this pot was too hot. I need to do something about this. So I've just cooled it down a bit with a bit of water. Okay, so that's bubbling away. I'm going to put a lid on. So the lid on is just going to keep the moisture in because I just want to stew these plums. And then I'll take the lid off in about 10 minutes and get some of that moisture away as well. I'll show you that when we get to it. Meanwhile, I've got some garlic. This is just garlic, peeled garlic with canola oil. I'll bring this up to a simmer, and then I'll let that just go very, very gently for about 20 minutes until the garlic's really, really soft. And then we'll toss that through our vegetables. Okay, so everything's cooking. I'm going to get some herbs chopped up. We're going to toss these through our roast veg. So we're going to get some rosemary and some fresh parsley. So often you see recipes calling for rosemary to go in the oven or the pot with the food. I find that after a few minutes, rosemary really loses a lot of its lovely aroma with too much cooking. Like a little bit of cooking is fine, but too much just makes it go fairly bitter. So I actually love to use rosemary quite fresh. So in this dish it's going to be not cooked at all, but you can also throw it in with your veg in the last 10 minutes or so, or you could put it in a pot with a bit of oil and and just shallow fry it for a few minutes. But yeah, definitely if this rosemary went in with the veg from the start, it would go fairly black and a little bit bitter, and yeah, you just lose some of that freshness. So just going to check to see if this is done. Let's put a knife through a thick part towards the bone, and that's cooked all the way through. There's no red juice coming through. It's nice and clear. That's lovely and cooked, very, very soft as well. It's going to be tasty. Here's a beetroot. Now I probably could have done one more tray for this beetroot. It's probably just a little bit too much. See how it's steamed a bit? So I'm going to put that back into 2 separate trays. I mean, it's still delicious, but I just like it when it's got a bit of texture to it as well. Alright, so that's really bubbling away now. I'm going to take the lid off and let this keep on cooking with no lid, just so I can get that sauce down a bit. Sorry, the liquid in the sauce, reduce that a bit. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, actually, that's good. I don't need to do anything more. So that's good to go as a sauce. So what I'm looking for is just enough viscosity that it's sort of holding its own. It's not running off like water. It's just starting to hold its own bit of shape there. And when we put that on the chicken, that's going to make it lovely and glossy. I love just using the fruit as it is. It's got enough sugar in it. And if you cook it really fast on high heat, then it's going to maintain the beautiful color and the original flavor of what you have. So this sauce is going to taste like plums with a touch of ginger and chili. Because that was about 10 minutes, if that, on the stove. That's the secret to cooking fruit as fast as possible. And that means if you have a lot of volume, then cook in smaller batches. So if you have 2 kilos of berries, divide it up into 1 kilo batches or 500 gram batches and cook them in smaller amounts as fast as possible. And that gives you that lovely fresh flavour. Okay, so all the herbs are in there. I'm still being on the beetroot, but we can still toss this through a bit. Now visually we can check the quantity again just by doing like imaginary handfuls. So I can just imagine going, okay, that's 1 serve, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and a bit. So we're bang on 10 serves here at the moment. And this is a generous amount of food as well. But I really encourage that. Just use visuals to sort of guide how much food you need. Okay, it's got a bit of colour now on the beetroot. And it's mean there's this bit of charring going on. Bit of crunch. So now with the beetroot, we've probably got something more like 13 or 14 serves. This is that garlic bubbling away. It's just starting to take a bit of colour. I'm going to turn that heat right down. Probably just turn it off for a bit. Let that simmer for another 10 minutes. And then I'll check that garlic to see, once it's nice and soft, we're good to go. Okay, so this is the garlic. It's lovely and soft. Squishing under the tongs. Now I've drained the oil from it. This is now garlic oil, which is just delicious with a bit of sourdough. You can brush it on everything and anything, easiest way to make garlic bread as well. So we'll use a little bit of that in the veg and keep the rest of it. Tip all this garlic in. So this is nice and sweet, this garlic, so it really becomes, you can be nice and generous with it and not worry about overpowering the dish. So I love serving up food just as it is, straight onto the table from the trays it's on. So this is me for a group of people. I just put all this chicken into one bane. All the veggies ready to go. We've now got 15 pieces of chicken. Enough veg there for 15 people. So there you have it, got some roast veg and a bit of roast chicken with a plum sauce, hint of chili, ginger, good to go. All the juices here we can deglaze with a bit of water and use in future cooking as a bit of chicken stock. So a bit of water, just put that back in the oven for a bit, and that's good to go. This is our chicken tray. It's gone in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes with a bit of water, and now we just scrape up all these bits of chicken into the water, which is now a bit of a stock. Pretty much making our pan nice and clean as well. I'm just straight into something fairly narrow. That you can pop in your fridge. So this is probably a bit too tall for a domestic fridge. But the idea is that once this is cold, you can take all that chicken fat off, and then you've got the stock underneath ready to go.